All right, good morning, guys. So today we are going to, for this week actually, we're going to move away from uh, subtopics and researching for subtopics. You guys did some good work with that last week, and now we're gonna just dip our toes into the introduction because the introduction's it's a tough thing, and we already tried this once with the honey badger, but now we're gonna take it a little slower. We're gonna go step by step. So the first thing you need to do is there's two videos today to watch. There's this one right now, but there's this one that's on my screen. It's how to writing an introduction for an informational text. If you haven't watched this one yet, the one on my screen, pause this video and go watch this one first. This one was it's pretty helpful, and it's like 5 minutes long. It's pretty helpful the way she describes how you go about writing an introduction. And it's basically two steps. She gives us two steps. She gives us writing a hook, and or asking a question with writing a hook, and then you answer that question. So asking and answering the question is the first part, and then the second part is telling your reader what they're going to learn about. I like the way she said that. So if you haven't watched this video yet, watch that first, and then come back to this one. But if you did watch that video, let's go to. So in your work today, it'll look like this. We're going back to our friend the pangolin, just because we already all know about him. I didn't want to have to research. I didn't want everyone to have to research a whole new topic. So the main topic again will be our pangolin. And here's your directions. You're going to write 2 hook questions to start your introduction about the pangolins. Just write the pangolin about the pangolin, and then you're going to choose your favorite hook question and put it in the graphic organizer. So again, you're going to write 2 hook questions to start your introduction about the pangolin, and then you're going to choose your favorite and put it into the graphic organizer. So when we go down here, this is going to look a little different. We still have this little informative thing that I'm going to leave on there, and I'll read that in a second. This box is where you're going to write your hook questions. And then again, we have the graphic organizer. And you can see now the subtopics are now gray and the introduction's white. So we're going to be writing in the introduction now. For the information in the subtopic, I used diet and habitat, the one that I researched, and then I took the most popular pieces of information from everybody's when everybody else did research for their scales, and I put that in here as like a summary. So also, if you need a refresher on the pangolin, I'll put the video and the article on here too. I'll change that in a second. So, writing a hook for the introduction. So, what is the introduction? The introduction is the very first paragraph of our writing, and it's going to do a couple things. The introduction will, just like the video we watched, it's going to hook our reader with a strong lead question, or it could be a sentence, but we're going to do questions. And then you're going to answer that question for the reader, just like the video, just like the teacher in the video said. And then it's going to tell your reader what they're going to learn about. Another way to think about that is to summarize or list your subtopics. We're not at that stage yet, but just to let you know where we'll be going. And then finally, this wasn't in the teacher's video, but I think this is an important one that she should have covered, is you're going to transition your introduction into the next paragraph. That means you're going to write like 1 or 2 sentences that wraps up what you're talking about in the introduction and moves on to the next paragraph in a nice way that makes your reading flow. But the reason this is red is because this is the only thing we're working on right now. Hook your reader with a strong lead question or a sentence, then answer your question for the reader. So we're actually not even doing this part yet. So I'll turn this back to the regular font. We're just working this part of the first step. Hook your reader with a strong lead question sentence. So if you need information about the pangolin, if you need a refresher, you can read the graphic organizer. You can go back to the video and the article that I'll post up here on the first page. But what will that lead question sentence look like? I'm going to give you an example one. So it's almost like, well, think about it this way. What would be interesting enough to grab your reader's attention? Because we have an interesting main topic. Penguin's a very cool animal. And so what's an interesting way to ask a question about your reader to get them hooked to your reading, to hook to your writing? You want to grab their attention with a crazy question. And there's a lot of interesting things about the penguin. So let's look at this one, for example. Subtopic one, diet and habitat. That means what they eat and where they live. We have this information that we know. Penguins live in the tropical regions of Asia and Africa. So if I turn that into a question, what animal? How about, did you know there's an animal that lives in the tropical regions of Asia and Africa? So I could start with something like that. But let's look at this closer. Did you know there's an animal that lives in the tropical regions of Asia and Africa? Well, that's a very broad question because lots of animals live in the tropical regions of Asia and Africa. Those are basically rainforests. Tons of animals live in the rainforest. So I don't think that's the best one. It's not as strong as it could be. And there's way more interesting things about the penguin to write about. For example, if I go down to their scales are razor sharp and tough to protect themselves from predators. People even used to make suits of armor out of their scales. Penguin scales are made of keratin, the same stuff our fingernails are made of. Their scales make them target for poachers because people buy the scales for lots of money. The penguins catch ants and termites with a long, sticky tongue. They climb in. There's weird. There's some of them live in trees. Some of them dig underground. So there's lots of other more interesting stuff to write about. How about a question like this? Have you heard of an animal? Or how about I like this one even better. Did you know that did you know that one of the world's cutest animals, and the fact that the penguin's cute, or the idea that the penguin's cute, that's an opinion, but that's okay. You can, as long as I'm stating something that's factual too. Did you know that one of the world's cutest animals can roll into a razor sharp ball? So I like that one. Did you know that one of the world's cutest animals can roll into a razor sharp ball? Or you know what? I'm even going to change that a little further because I that the fact that I think it's one of the world's cutest animals, that's an opinion, and you can include an opinion with a factual statement. But how about this? Have you heard of an adorable animal that can roll itself up into a razor sharp ball? So I like that. If you remember from the videos, penguins, they completely can go inside. It's almost like a turtle, but they make their own shell. They curl up and they can just get into a sharp ball. So that way the animals trying to hunt them can't really bite them. Have you heard of an adorable animal that can roll itself up into a razor sharp ball? I like that one. So there's one example for the penguin. And eventually we'll answer that question for the reader. But right now, today, you're only coming up with 2 hook questions. So let's see if we can put numbers here. So 1, 2. Just come up with 2 of your own questions. And then you're going to pick your best one. Pick the one you think is the strongest out of your two, not my example. Pick your strongest one out of your two, and you can copy and paste it, or you can rewrite it and bring it down here into the hook. Just like that. So when you're finished, you should have two questions, and then you should have the question you thought was the strongest, put it in your hook. And that will be all. So I hope this is fairly easy. I hope it's kind of interesting now that we're moving away from the subtopics. And so again, if you need more refreshers or reminders about the penguin, I'll put the article and the videos up here. If you don't have to watch them or read it, but if you need it, go ahead. So good luck with this. I hope the directions are clear, and if you have any questions, I will be on Google Classroom.